So I checked, I Googled this morning, just out of pure curiosity, okay? Looking at, what was the March Madness ratings over the first 2 rounds, okay? Because that's the most games. It's the most madness, so to speak. You get the most upsets in the first couple of rounds. I mean, heck, you got 15 seed Princeton in the Sweet 16. Hats off to the kids over there beating Arizona and then taking care of business. I'm forgetting who they beat. It's not coming to the top of my head right off the bat. But March Madness, how about this? This is according to sportspromedia.com. They track like ratings and stuff like that. They said, quote, the opening round of March Madness drew an average of 8.4 million domestic viewers, setting an 8-year high for the college basketball men's tournament. So the highest the ratings have been since 2015. And I think what it says is it's really why the NFL is so popular. It's why you hear all this, the NFL ratings, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, don't believe any of the narrative, the fake narrative nonsense you hear out there. People love the NFL. People love March Madness. Why is that? What do they have in common? There is an incredible sense of urgency. It's different than the NBA. 7-game series. Baseball, 7-game series, or you get that you got that to a certain degree with the wild card game, but then they made it a wild card series, best of 3, division series, best of 5, and then the championship series and the World Series, best of 7. Hockey, best of 7. College football is one and done in the playoff, but A, it's 4 teams as opposed to 64, and B, we can pretty much guess year in and year out who's going to be in the playoff. I mean, there's going to be some Ohio State in there, some Alabama, some Georgia. You kind of know the teams. Clemson for had a long run there, won a couple national titles. College basketball, it's wide open. And I think in college sports, it's different than pro sports. I've said for years that parity, so to speak, or lack of dynasties or one team for everybody to hate is horrible for professional sports. I've said that for years. Okay, the NBA's ratings were at their peak in the 90s. Greatest dynasty in league history, the Bulls, led by Michael Jordan. The NFL. The NFL is less reliant on dynasties than the NBA. But for 2 decades, everybody hated the Patriots or everybody loved the Patriots. But you did not want to miss them if they were on television, especially in the playoffs. And more times than not, they were on television in February. College is a little bit different. We can have, in college football, so to speak, Alabama fatigue. Alabama's not going anywhere. Now, they've dipped off in recent years, but in college sports, it's literally the reverse of pro sports. This is why I love pro sports more than college sports, and I love college sports. This is why I like pro sports more. If a team sucks in college football, let's think about a downtrodden football program. Okay, not to take a shot at a rival of Tennessee, but I'll take a shot at a rival at Tennessee, Vanderbilt. When's the last time Vanderbilt's been, respectable? Forget good, respectable in the scheme of college football and certainly in the SEC. I can't remember the last time that's been the case. If they were in the NFL, if it were like the NFL structure, Vandy would get all the 5-star recruits and Bama would have to find some diamond in the rough, some 3-star recruits. But that's not how it works. Am I arguing against it? No, it's a different structure. It obviously works very well for college football. Check their ratings, check the success of the overall product as a whole. But the NFL, if you are a struggling franchise for years and years and years, like the Jacksonville Jaguars, just suck for 1 year and you get one of the greatest, most generational talents that we've ever seen coming out of a draft in Trevor Lawrence. And it looks like Jacksonville is going to have a good decade and a half of relevance and possibly championship contention. When you see Alabama in college football, when you see Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky, by the way, all 4 of which failed to make the Sweet 16. Carolina failed to even make the tournament. Kentucky, Duke, and Kansas, all of them got knocked out in the round of 32. We've got 11 teams in March Madness. 16 teams still at the tournament from 11 different conferences. Parity is great for college sports. It's horrible for professional sports. Folks, baseball hasn't had a dynasty since like the Yankees of the late 90s, early 2000s. Did you see the World Series ratings last year? In the tank. Houston's trying to become a dynasty. But one could argue, yeah, but their 2017 title, it's kind of illegitimate because reasons that we know. And Philadelphia, yeah, it's a cool story, big market, but not an iconic brand like the Red Sox or the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Cardinals, etc. Sense of urgency always sells in sports. I mean, I would consider myself a casual college basketball fan. I try to watch every Saturday during, the winter months, certainly after the Super Bowl is done, leading up to March Madness, trying to get to know some of these teams going into the tournament. But most of these teams, FDU, heck, I've never heard of the school, much less any of the players. Same with teams like Princeton, Florida Atlantic. I mean, a lot of people hadn't heard of some of the guys. Obviously, I am because I'm a Tennessee fan, but a lot of people hadn't heard of some of the guys for Tennessee, their name. But they're watching like, hey, Olivier Kamwa is a pretty good player. Santiago Vescovi, man, listen, Duke and shoe. He moves off the ball great. Okay, Jonas Adu, right? He's great on both ends of the floor. You start to learn the names. You start to learn the stories. You get something to root for. You get somebody to root against. People are pulling against Alabama. Some of it is off-court stuff. Some of it is the fact that they've been the best team in college basketball all season long. If you give somebody something to root for, if you give them a reason, if you give them a sense of urgency, the product's going to be better. The viewership is going to be higher. It's going to be incredible. The NBA, which I'm not saying NBA should go to best of one. I think it'd be terrible. No, I'm not advocating for that in the slightest. Best of one series. No. It wouldn't be a series. It'd just be one game. But it's why when there was so much criticism of Adam Silver 2 years ago when he instituted the play-in tournament, they don't really keep stats long-term for the play-in tournament. And, the 10 seed could get in the playoffs and just messes everything up. I mean, even LeBron James, if I remember correctly, I'm not quoting him verbatim, but if I remember correctly, LeBron's saying something like, whoever came up with this should be fired. Which is kind of ironic because the situation, the predicament LeBron's team finds itself in, but that's another topic for later in the show. But I said, this is great for the NBA. Because A, it reduces tanking, and B, it gives a 10 seed an opportunity like, hey, we could maybe sneak in the playoffs. And you look at, 7 seed, 8 seed, these are these are game 7 type fields. And whatever the NBA can do to institute that, it's why baseball is as bad of a spot popularity-wise as it's ever been in its history. Who am I supposed to root against? Right? Well, why do I get excited? It's why the regular season numbers are horrible. The postseason numbers really aren't that good at all up until the World Series, which have been subpar in recent years. Give people a reason to watch, give them a sense of urgency, and they'll watch. By the way, give the players the incentive. I mean, folks, we still talk about some of the heroes of tournaments past for years to come. If they make a game-winning shot, if they do this, they do that. I mean, I didn't remember I'm talking about the women's bracket now. I didn't remember the woman's name for Mississippi State. But remember, she couldn't have been 5 foot tall. I mean, she was just little. And she hit that game-winning shot at the buzzer to beat UConn in the Final Four back in 2017. I remember where I was when I watched that shot. This tournament can make heroes out of people we've never heard of unless you're like a college basketball diehard, which obviously most people are not. It's why I say when people rip the NBA and players taking games off, well, I mean, they're told every day by fans, media, and the league, essentially, the regular season really doesn't mean anything, guys. Like, don't. It's the playoffs that matters. And the ratings, more times than not, reflect that. That's what I think has been my main takeaway from March Madness. By the way, the games have been incredible. I mean, from basically the second game, Furman, Virginia, where Furman won that game at the very end. It was a great call by the great Kevin Harlan, the whole bit. From then on, it's been incredible. It's been very, very entertaining. And this is a big, big win for college basketball for a lot of these programs who, are now getting their shine. So I love it. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube. Be sure to click that big red subscribe button and go check out the other clips and full shows of Carving It Up Live. Have a blessed day.